All right. Just like we had the NFL jerseys one a few weeks ago, now we're doing the NBA jerseys. So we're combining two of our passions here.
Come on
One of the
now.
biggest NBA guys that I know, and somehow you're cheering for one of the worst teams. But anyway,
Hey,
we got the
give it
NBA,
give
we
it
got the
time.
jerseys.
Give it time.
Here we
No
go.
slander. I'm
You've got
ready.
your top five.
Yep.
I have I have all 32 ranked or 30 ranked. I keep thinking the NBA has 32 because
Yeah.
everyone's like going in that direction
But
recently. Um,
but
but
yeah,
we've
is
got
the
them
the
all
NBA
ranked.
the NBA is the only one with 30 now, right?
MLB still has 30 as well,
Oh
I
yeah, what am
believe.
I saying?
Yeah.
They didn't add a team, they just readjusted the divisions.
Plus, there's so much talk about the NBA expanding or like adding in a Seattle
Yeah.
team again and stuff. I feel like in my head, I'm like, oh, they're gonna be
It
there
it it does feel
anyway.
like it's gonna happen soon, but
But all 30, well,
29
another
of the
correction,
30, right?
29 because the
Yeah.
Jazz decided to just
Because
not
their regular
pass in this
jerseys,
assignment.
yeah, their regular jerseys were bad enough. They just didn't want to somehow make it even worse, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know why they
Or
just decided to be the only team that didn't submit one. But
That's ridiculous. Can you
you
imagine
know,
how bad their jerseys would be if they didn't have like the throwback one? You know what I'm saying? Like they
I
have that
know.
90s jersey again. If it was just the three rebranded jerseys of this year,
Yeah, they have the worst in the league
yeah,
easily.
it's by
Like not
far.
not even close.
And for some reason, they're playing well this year because everyone thought they were trying to tank.
Hey,
What a team. What a team.
who knows, man? Who
Yeah.
knows? All right, so we're back to kind of the original formatting where we go, back and forth probably.
Uh-huh.
I feel like it's been a little while since we've done that, but we also took a week off for Thanksgiving. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
that might be confusing me a little bit there. But
Yeah.
do you wanna go 1 to 5 or do you want to go 5 to 1?
Oh, 5-1 for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Do you want to start or do you want me to give you my five right off the bat here?
You go first. Why not?
All right. My number five, this was probably the hardest one for me to rank out of all 30 was to figure out what was going to go in the fifth spot, partially
Okay.
because I knew we were doing these rankings at some point.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure I was very sure about the top five.
Okay.
At number five, I have the Charlotte Hornets.
Ooh,
Now, they are
interesting.
one that I don't remember my exact rankings of the first time that city jerseys came out or whatever rankings I did. It might have been
Yeah.
the earned edition. I'm not sure what I ranked, but they had that mint green jersey, and I
Hmm.
loved that jersey. I think it was in my
Yeah.
top three, but again, I'm not sure. They brought it back a little bit for this one.
Right.
You have the mint in there representing the country's first national mint. I love the gold. I love the mint and the gold. And I think that putting it on like a black or dark gray, kind of hard to tell exactly
Hmm.
what color that is, but I
Yeah.
think it makes those two colors pop in a way that they typically wouldn't because they're not the most flashy colors.
Hmm.
I also love the airport code as the word mark. A couple
Hmm.
teams did that, and I think it was cool since these are city jerseys and
Right.
the airport represents the city.
Yeah.
So I got the Charlotte Hornets coming in at number five. I think they're one of the better if you combine looks. I think they're one of the overall better city teams in the
Yeah.
in the league over the
Yeah.
years.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. I will say, I think the Charlotte Hornets are my favorite jerseys, just overall, not just
Overall,
today.
their whole like
I
portfolio.
I really like I like the colors. I kind of like I don't know if you can call it pinstripes because there's like very
Hmm.
few, but the vertical lines going through the jersey is not something that you really see in the NBA,
Yeah, it
and I
reminds me
like
of
it.
like the old Bulls kind of.
Yeah, yeah. And so I really like it, especially with their home, just their regular white jersey, which I guess I don't know if teams have home and away jerseys anymore, but
Yeah, true.
um I love their jerseys. So that's a good pick. I respect that.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid. What do you got? What do you got as your first pick here?
Okay, okay. So this was tough. I was telling you earlier, it was easy to get rid of a bunch that I didn't like.
Hmm.
But I had like, I don't know, probably eight at the end of the day. That was really tough, narrowed it down to five. I had a few that were definitely making it, but choosing this fifth one was tough. And even now, I don't know if I'm fully thrilled with it, but I do like the jersey. I have the Milwaukee Bucks.
All right.
Um, I mean, we've been through this. I'm a sucker for blue
Mm-hmm.
jerseys. It just is the way
Yep.
it is. Um, I wasn't a huge fan of the blue jersey they did. I guess that must have been 2 years ago, the city jersey they had.
Yeah, the
It was sort of like
river one.
waves, like the different
Hmm.
shades of blue going through. Wasn't a huge fan. This one I like. There's something about like a relatively simple jersey that has a cool multicolored like accent down the side that I really like. And so the mix of green, blue, white, purple all down the side when they're wearing it with the full jersey, I just think it looks really clean. Um, it's a good contrast to their normal jerseys, the blue,
Hmm.
right, coming out, which they've had jerseys where blue is sort of like a slight accent. They've had plenty of jerseys where they didn't have the blue. So I just kind of think it's just something about it that I like. I think looks nice. Um, I can't speak to the city inspiration behind it, but that's going to be a theme we have here. But I just like the jerseys.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think this is a good time to bring up um we talked earlier before recording about the way that we put this list together.
yeah.
How did you
I'm like
what were the criteria for you looking at
I'm
these
like
jerseys?
85% looking at the visual, like just how
Okay.
the jersey looks,
Okay.
um, all that will go into that. And then there's like 85, like 15% the inspiration behind it. Like there's some on here that I'll like more emphasize the inspiration behind the jersey and my
Hmm.
appreciation of it. Then there's some where it's just I really think this jersey like looked great.
Okay.
So I'm kind of gonna go back and forth, but
Okay. I don't
yeah,
think we're too far off then. For me, it
okay,
was they're almost equal in the sense that either one can like eliminate it
yeah,
from
yeah,
contention for like the higher echelon of these rankings.
sure,
So if it doesn't look good, I'm not going to consider it
right,
as like a
right,
top five, top 10, whatever. Um, and then on the other hand, if it has nothing to do with the city, I also capped it at a certain point. Like there was
yeah,
some jerseys that look fantastic, but they have no
right.
inspiration
It's just
behind them. And I was so they got relatively high when I was ranking the overall like all 30, but I
yeah,
had to cut them off at a certain point because I saved like the top 10 or 12 for jerseys that were good and had a nice inspiration behind them.
it's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah, so I think
Like
we're not too
yeah,
dissimilar on that, but it'll be interesting to see
right,
where
right.
those criteria lead us.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. What do you have it for?
Number four, I have the Detroit Pistons. And
Interesting.
this was one I battled with a while because I didn't know if I could justify it being this high. I think for me, on aesthetics, it's a cool looking shirt.
Yeah.
It it's very retro. It's one of those shirts that just instantly feels retro.
Uh-huh.
And then what really drove it up to be number four on my list was the inspiration because I think it's so cool and it's so unique. So these are
Okay.
based on a local gym called St.
Hmm.
Cecilia's, and basically the inspiration is based on all the young people that grow up going to that gym playing basketball,
Huh.
and they have something like on the I think where the tag of the jersey goes that says like something about building the stars of tomorrow or something like that.
Huh. Okay.
And the colors are from I think like the walls of the gymnasium or something like that. So they really pulled it like straight from that, and I feel like that's just a super unique and cool thing that's also related to basketball. So it all like
Yeah.
ties in together. Um, so yeah, that drove it up to the top five for me.
Okay. That is cool. I had it. That was this one was in my list
Hmm.
of like the top 8 to 10 or so of
Yeah, like
like
the short list.
going back and forth of if I wanted it in here. It didn't quite make the cut, but it's a really cool jersey. And I didn't know that backstory, so
Hmm.
I like
And then
that take on
I
the game.
believe the three stars above the D are representative of like three NBA titles as well.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think.
That's cool.
I
That's
think.
cool.
Yep.
I like it. That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
Yeah. So what's your four?
All
Give it
right.
to me.
I have the Los Angeles Clippers at
All
four.
right. They're
Now,
not in my top five, but I really like this jersey.
yeah. So this is another one of it's a pretty simple jersey, right? Like it's just um a black jersey, but it's like the little accent that is like really colorful, which is
Hmm.
just something that I really like. So the sort of outline around the name and then up around, right, like the neck and the arms, I guess. I just think the way the like really plain sort of backdrop of the jersey complements the super colorful outline there. It looks really clean. It looks really nice. Um, and then I do appreciate the backstory with this one, where I think it's an ode to sort of the Drew League in LA, which is just something I've become really fond of over the years. Especially, I think it really started to blow up. I could be totally wrong, but I know back in like 2011 when the NBA had their lockout, that a
Hmm.
ton of NBA guys were going and just playing in the Drew League. And it seems like ever since then, over the summers, we'll always see videos and highlights of NBA guys going there. And I know this summer it was a huge deal when DeMar DeRozan and LeBron played on the same team. And I think it's just cool what the Drew League does and the fact that they have so many big names that it's like people that are growing up in LA that don't have the opportunity to go see these guys at NBA games can line
Right.
up, just go to a local gym and they're seeing LeBron play pickup. It's just super cool. And it's just a really, really dope league, I think. And so the sort of the respect there and the inspiration coming from there, I really like as well. So the combination of the two for me, it's just a jersey I really love.
Yeah,
What?
this one's super nice.
Yeah.
I think in my head I also gave him points for like most improved because the Clippers historically have had some of the worst city jerseys in my opinion, and
Yeah.
some jerseys where it's like did you even try on this? And I
Right.
think these are super nice. Additional inspiration, the colors that are in that word mark are
Hmm.
from something called the Watts Towers, which are it's like a art kind of campus
Okay.
almost in Los Angeles. I guess it's really important to people from Los Angeles, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like you said, the Drew League. It's also cool the Drew League because it's sort of basketball. I feel like more than any other sport has like the history of like pickup. It's rooted in like
Hmm.
pickup games, like going to
Hmm.
the park, playing pickup.
Right.
So it's cool to see the stars of the game also doing that still, even
Yeah.
when the rest of the time they're playing for tens of millions of dollars.
Right. 100%. I love it. I love it.
All right, my number three on here is the Atlanta Hawks. And I
Ooh.
may be biased because I just spent
Ooh.
some time in Georgia around the time that these came out.
Yeah.
Um, but I really like just the overall vibe of these jerseys. I
Okay.
mean, you got the peach color. I think peach and Atlanta are just so interlinked that it's just such an easy like memory trigger there. The Georgia Peaches. I love the cursive script. I think the gradient works really nicely on these jerseys.
Hmm.
And I think that these are just a jersey that if it didn't say Atlanta on them and it said like Hawks or something and someone didn't know where they were from, if you were like, what city does this team play in? I feel like someone could give a good guess that they were in Atlanta because I just
Okay.
feel like this jersey encapsulates the vibe of Atlanta
Yeah.
very nicely. And it also is just a nice, simple jersey that looks nice.
Yeah.
They didn't try to do too much here. They didn't go crazy. Some teams went like off the wall with their jersey. They just made a nice, simple jersey. There's inspiration behind it, and it looks nice.
There you go. I'm not a huge fan of these, to be honest. No, I can't really put my finger on like why. There's just something I don't know, personally, I don't love, but I can see what you're saying with like the
Yeah.
Georgia inspiration. Um, and I guess I can get why someone would
I
like
think
them.
these are probably the most of any jersey on my list of all 30. It's the most like I can't really put my
Pinpoint.
finger exactly on
Yeah,
why I like them so much, but I just look at them and I'm like, that's a nice jersey.
yeah. Because there's nothing like some of these city jerseys are doing stuff that feels like outrageous.
Right,
Certainly isn't that. It's just
right.
isn't I like it just for whatever reason I don't love it quite as much, but
I also
I,
think
I
these are
respect the pick.
jerseys.
I respect it.
All right. I also think they're jerseys that they could rebrand and go to like this concept full time
That's true.
and
That's true.
make like a white version, make a peach based version or something and use that as like their color scheme and it would be like a
Yeah.
oh that's kind of cool. It's their full time color scheme, but it also has some city
A
inspiration.
a team with their colors being white, black, and peach would be strange. I don't
Yeah,
think there's never been
not really, no.
anything close to that. So
It's a
that's
good
my
point
only,
too.
I guess I'm not saying that I like I might agree like the
Yeah.
jersey itself, but I that if they're gonna make it their full sort of their collection based on this sort of design, that would be the only thing that's like, would that be
Sometimes you got to be
weird or would
unique.
I say, hey, I'm all for that. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
What do you got at number three?
All right. Number three, I have the Chicago Bulls.
All right.
Now, at first, part of me was just like, there's nothing like super special about this jersey. So
Hmm.
is it, am I putting it too high? But from the first time I saw it, there's just something I liked. Um, and I just kind of think it's not super different from their regular home jersey, except for it says Chicago instead of Bulls. But the black accent throughout is
Okay.
is like the biggest difference. And something about the black being added to it, I like. It reminds me of like the old Bulls jerseys because it's if you look closely, the sides, the accent
Hmm.
around the neck, and sort of the arms, it's like stripes, right? So it's
Right.
the thin stripe of red, then black, then red, then black, which reminds me of the throwback Bulls days. So something about this jersey when I see it, it kind of brings me back to like the 80s, 90s Bulls, which I think is kind of cool. And then it just looks, it's like simple, but there's just something about it I like. Like it's clean, not going to be super different from their regular home jerseys, but different enough that it's kind of cool. Reminds me a little bit of how the Celtics a couple years ago had just the white jersey with like yellow
Yeah.
accents added to it. And it was another similar thing where just the little add of yellow was like a nice touch to me. And in the way the black works for me here on these. I came very close to not putting them in my top five. It was something, but I just I like them. I think they're clean. I just think they work.
Okay.
Oh,
I like these jerseys. I don't love them as a city jersey though. Um,
okay.
because it to me these are more of like it almost seems like they were sort of testing the waters on like a new design
Uh-huh.
and use that as like okay, we'll also pass it off as our city jersey as opposed to
Uh,
like oh, we're gonna go all in on city jersey. And I mean the thing with Chicago is I think they're a team and there's plenty of these in the program this year. They are a team that it seems like they're kind of hurt by the fact that this is now like the sixth or seventh year that they've done this program, and Nike's like, you got to do a new one every year because they have such a good, easy city identity with the Chicago flag, but they've kind of beat that thing into the ground already. Like
mm,
they've used it so many times that I think they probably were like, we got to do something else. Um, but I feel like when a city has that there and then they don't use it, it's a weird thing as well
yeah.
when you're using a city jersey, sort of like the Celtics for a while have not they've been very plain with their jersey. It's like you have, like the Boston Marathon colors are right there. You could do like
Yeah.
something with that. You could like there's so many things with Boston that you could work in. Um the article that I get all of the like inspirations from says that it's mainly they've done like the Chicago municipal system,
Mm,
like the trains, I think. Um, there's like that logo is kind of in there somewhere, but I feel like it's so
interesting.
hidden that
Yeah,
it like I don't know, it's kind of a stretch.
yeah,
Um, but I definitely like can get why you like the jerseys because I also like them. And again,
right,
like
right.
if if this is a test of like would these jerseys work,
Hmm.
go for it. Like
Right.
absolutely make a red version, make a black version. There's your three. Like
Yeah,
these are great looking jerseys. I just couldn't put it super high because I didn't see as much of a city design in them.
yeah. I get it. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. All right. My number two is it feels almost like a cop out because this is a team that just has such a again like just such a layup for inspiration, but it's the New Orleans Pelicans.
Mm,
And the reason I say it's kind of a cop out is because like, you know, they've got the purple, green, and yellow, the Mardi Gras thing going. They've
hmm.
got NOLA on there, which I feel like they've used so many times, but it just for some reason I love it every time that
Yeah, I
they
was gonna
do
say
it.
you always do love the New
Like
Orleans.
even when they had the original, it wasn't even like a city program, I think, when they
Mhm.
first started doing this. They just decided to start going purple and green jerseys with the NOLA across it. And I was like, that is awesome.
Yeah,
Um, but I also just I love the striping. I love that design. I love like the deep purple that they use as the base. I
hmm,
really, really like the font. I think similar to what I was saying about the Hawks with like the vibe of the city. I think the font
yeah,
just nails that. And I think again, they didn't do too much here where
yeah,
they got this design in there. They clearly got the inspiration in, but it's also just a pretty simple, sharp, nice looking jersey.
yeah. I like a lot of it. I personally think I've liked previous iterations of it a little more. It's just
Hmm.
I they had a very similar one. I was it must have been last year where the base was white. Um,
It may have been.
may have been. I think I just like that base a little more. But I
Hmm.
do agree with you. I like the font. I like the striping, the other colors being brought in. So there's a lot I like about these jerseys. It's really cool. I think for me, it's just I kind of see it as like a slightly worse version of previous ones. It
Yeah,
brings it down a
fair.
little for me, but it's definitely really cool what they do. So
Yeah. That's another tough thing with these city jerseys now is like we've seen,
so yeah, it's too
six
hard to be
different versions of
creative
them
every year.
and like, we're sitting here being like, "Oh, it reminds us of a past one." But like we can't we can't remember what
Yeah,
year they were from because there's so many of them. And a
yeah,
lot of them are similar inspirations because, it's one city. You're not gonna go reaching for something that's like super niche a lot of the time because you want it
right,
to be marketable. But there's not a ton that a lot of these cities can go off of.
yeah,
I think it's time for Nike to just like move on from this or make it a more permanent, like you can have the design for 3 years or something. Because this
yeah,
every year thing is there's a lot of teams that we can mention after maybe that you can just see that they're reaching for it really.
yeah, yeah,
All right,
100%.
let's move on to your number two.
All right. Number two, this is maybe my boldest choice.
At number two, wow. Okay.
But just because of the jersey, I can understand why some people would like hate it. I could
Okay.
see people having that opinion. I don't know what yours is, we'll see. But I have the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
I I love this jersey. Um, the nod back to the 1996 All-Star game, I believe it was,
Hmm.
that was in San Antonio, and back the All-Star jerseys they had then were a similar like retro with like the teal turquoise sort of accent in them. They weren't like this. But I really like the colors. I like the teal, um, or the rich turquoise, I think it is, with the yellow bit, little bit of yellow, the little bit of pink. I like sort of the design down the sides of the jersey. Um, and I also just like how it works with the Spurs that are such a plain
Yeah.
color scheme. Like they're just white and black with some gray. Um, and that's kind of the way they've been for years. It used to be there were slight like bluish red, I think, mixed into like the logo. forgetting when that was, but it's just been this, like it's just been super plain for as long as I can remember. And I really like the way it works, where you have a super plain sort of combination of jerseys, and then to bring in a alternate that's just a really like out there
Yeah.
color. I just think it really works. Um, I saw they wore it. I think they wore it like 2 days ago or something against the Lakers. It just, I can't explain it. It's like a bolder jersey design. It's a little more out there than some of these other ones, than a lot of the other ones that I've chosen. But I don't know. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I like that. I like what they're doing. So
Do they go teal shorts as well?
yeah,
Yeah. Wow,
you
that's a loud uniform.
yeah, I noticed. You never. I don't think there's. I guess there have been some. It's insanely rare that a team has different colored shorts
Right.
than completely different than
Right.
jerseys, but it's 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 out there.
Yeah. For me, I I'm kind of honestly probably one of the only people that's sort of like in the middle on these. Like you said, I
Okay.
feel like people love them or hate them. For
Yep.
me, the actual design is pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, I knocked some points off because while they do have like they're inspired by the 96 All-Star game, it's like I feel like that's a little bit of a stretch to be like, okay, our inspiration for our jersey that's inspired by our city is
The
this
jersey that
game
we
that
want.
happened to be in our city.
Yeah.
Um,
That's very fair. That's fair.
um, I really appreciate that they tried because some of the
Yeah.
teams just did not try. Um, and so my little write up, this is probably one of the shortest write ups I had for like my reasoning of a jersey. It literally
Yeah.
just says the inspiration for these are a bit of a stretch, but they're so beautiful. I'll let it slide as passable. They're based on the 96 All-Star game and they're really fun.
I like that.
Like
Hey,
it's I had to put them kind of in the middle because I there's so many jerseys that I felt like had a good inspiration and were good jerseys.
yeah.
But just based on looks, they would probably be pretty highly up there for me. I mean, the Spurs with the logo in the middle of the word mark always is kind of cool that they're
Yeah.
able to just throw it in there. And then I
Right.
also like the font because it reminds me of the Flintstones sort of combined with like the colors. It
Yeah.
almost looks like a Flintstones jersey. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of fun.
100%. 100%. So I like it. All right, number one, I feel like there's a decent chance that you and I have the same jersey one. So
I can tell you for a fact that we don't.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, go ahead.
The reason I can tell you that is because the one that I have number one, you've already said.
Oh,
Yeah. I have the Bucks.
really?
Yeah. And so here's the reason.
Surprising.
You mentioned, right? I pretty much agree with everything you said on the jersey. The only thing um you said that I can change is that you weren't really sure about the inspiration.
Huh.
And when you combine the jersey, which I think is a beautiful jersey, I don't know exactly what shade of blue this is, but I think it's
It's so nice.
unbelievable. It's a
Yeah.
perfect like royal blue. I love the cream accents. I love that they did not go, blatantly cream city like they have before. I
I like those
love
jerseys too.
I love the side.
Yep.
I think that pattern is awesome. And the side is apparently based on this neighborhood that is considered like the hub of the African American community in Milwaukee. And there's like a mural there that's I guess a very prevalent mural, and that's what this is. This the striping or the paneling I guess is based on. So I
Oh,
think that's a super cool tie-in to the city. So I
yeah.
think they look really nice. They don't smack you in the face with like the city inspiration, but it's there and it works. So I
Yeah.
think it's just like a super put together city jersey.
Yeah. Hey, I'm all for it. Maybe I should have them higher. I could be convinced.
Yeah,
They look so nice. The shade of blue.
it's
There's just
so
something
good.
about it. It's so
It's just
so good.
that might be my new favorite shade of blue.
Yeah,
Like
honestly.
it's like I feel like sometimes, navy just isn't quite
Mm,
exciting enough, but
mm.
sometimes light blue is a little bit too weak. And then you have like royal blue is sometimes a little bit just like weird. This is
Yeah.
somehow like it's a deep blue, but it's also, it's kind of fun. It's a fun shade of blue, but it's not as
Yeah.
weak as a light blue. Like it's just right in the middle there. I love it.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was wrong. We don't have
What
the
did you
same.
what did you think I was gonna have?
Okay. So number one, I have the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
I absolutely love this jersey. It's so cool to me. Um, Very different from anything they've ever done. Like this is
Yeah.
not remotely similar to their past jerseys. Um, Part of it might be for me, I was at the game when they unveiled it, right? The opening night this year, I was
Yeah. So
there in
you've seen them
person.
live.
And they did a whole tribute to Bill Russell that was really cool. So the inspiration behind the passing of Bill Russell, the history of the city, and the winning. I love the rings down the
Hmm.
side. I think that's just so cool. Just like a flex of the rings that Bill Russell won.
Hmm.
Um,
Even though you think that's not impressive.
I mean, winning 11 rings is a great accomplishment. I don't think it counts as much as winning if someone were to win 11 rings today, but still got to give him respect. You dominated your era. Um, and I do appreciate what Bill Russell did for the game and what he did for the world and the community of Boston. So I got to love it. And then as much as I'm not a Celtics fan, I do love Boston and I do love Boston sports. And so I can sort of have an appreciation and really love that as much as it's not necessarily my team. I still do like the Celtics. Um, so I just think it looks so cool. It's just like a smooth jersey. I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's like without the significance, there's just something about it that I love. And it's so unique. Like it's a different shade of green from their
Yeah.
normal color. It's a very different design pattern, all that from their normal jerseys. So I just think it works really well as a city alternate. And it's phenomenal to me. So
Yeah, absolutely. I have it at 6. The only reason I don't have it in the top 5 is just because I think the top 5 I have are super strong when you think about like my criteria.
mhm.
Um, this is, I mean,
Position.
I didn't think about it so in depth, but this is probably the best like alternate jersey if you want to group like alternates,
Okay.
earned edition,
Sure.
whatever. This is probably the best one the Celtics have ever had. I think the only thing that they would need to change to make it a full time, because obviously they're based on Bill Russell, so like over time that kind of inspiration might
Right. The
wear
11
off a little.
rings doesn't make
You
sense.
change the diamonds to clovers on the side.
Mm,
That's all you got to do. Like then it's
mhm,
just a full time Celtics alternate jersey. The
mhm,
only knocks on this one I had were um, one basing your city jersey on one player that played for your team is a little bit odd. Um, I kind of let it slide because one, I'm from Boston. Two, he was such an important figure like in Boston
yeah.
sports in general. So I
Right.
think it's definitely like acceptable. But
I mean, I think it's
if
just
that was kind of the baseline, it would be like,
yeah. But I mean, I
it's
think
not
it's
essentially a city.
yeah, but it's honoring him because he passed away. And it's the impact that he had
Right.
in the city, right?
Right.
Um,
I love the inspiration. But I do think like other jerseys have a stronger city
Fair
pull
enough.
to them. And
Fair
then
enough.
because this is a city a jersey, I think it would have been better to have it say Boston on the front.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
but if like if you're going for the full-time alternate look, like this looks great for,
Yeah.
having the Celtics on the front.
Fair
So
enough.
really the only reason that it's not higher is because I think there are other jerseys that nailed the city part of it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But this is, I mean, it's beautiful. I also just think there's something really cool about when teams, like I'm a big proponent of uh teams having, if you have one jersey, if it's like a color, a white, your third jersey should be like the color that's in your logo or whatever that you're not using.
Hmm.
um, I'm also a big proponent of like, you can have like a black third jersey or whatever. But I think it's cool when teams do what the Celtics did here, which is like take your primary color and just tweak it a little bit for your third jersey.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of other teams that have done that because there certainly are. Right now, I'm coming up a little bit short in my head, but like in other
Yeah.
sports,
And
certainly there are
I know
teams that
the
have just like
Thunder,
tweaked it.
the Thunder have done it
Right. Yeah. Like
a
when the Thunder had
number
those
of
navy
times.
jerseys, those
Yeah.
were super cool.
Yeah.
So
So
I think that's a cool idea that teams could use for alternate jerseys.
yeah, for sure. I
Who
like
else
it.
was on your like your short list?
Yeah. So another bold one that was close, but I just couldn't. I love the Wizards jersey.
Yeah, same. I think
I
that one's
really like it.
awesome. That one
I,
came in at number 10 for me.
okay. I think it's really cool. I like the shorts, the pink like fades into a blue, which I
Okay.
think looks really cool. And I know the flowers, I forget what the type of flower is, but it's sort of
Cherry blossom.
yeah, with the city there. I really like those a lot.
Hmm.
Um,
It's also cool that they
I
did it kind of like in connection with the Nationals. They both
yeah,
like released cherry
right,
blossom
right.
jerseys, which is kind of a cool thing.
I had forgotten about that, but that is really cool. A jersey that I'm like so close to loving, but
Uh-huh.
I just can't quite is the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay.
I absolutely love. They're another one, kind of similar to the Spurs, where they're really like the white and black, and then they bring in the bright blue and red and
Hmm.
yellow accent. I think it looks really great what they have going down the side.
Yeah.
There's two complaints I have. One, and the Grizzlies did this too. I don't like the something going down one side and then nothing on the other,
Okay.
which they both have. I think if they had the same
Interesting.
design down both sides of the jersey, it would look better. But I think the way it pops, like the side, the accent of the jersey pops against the white and the black looks really cool. And I know it's the inspired by a really famous artist, I believe, like in the city, but the whatever, I don't even know what the shape around the nets in the jersey
Yeah.
just I just don't love the way that looks. It looks too I
So
get
for
I guess the intention was that it was like take the jersey and it's like the artist had done something on it.
yeah.
The artist had done like graffiti on the jersey. So I get like that's what it looks like. And they have like a crown down by like the tag that
Hmm.
looks like someone literally painted the crown on a jersey. But I just don't love that. I don't think it looks great.
Yeah. So my biggest thing with the Nets one, there's a few teams like this. Um, and it might sound sort of hypocritical because of how high I have the Pelicans, but I think my reasoning for the Pelicans stands true. It's almost exactly just like I don't remember what year it was, but they had one that's almost exactly the same jersey but with
But
black.
black. Yeah.
The Heat did this as well.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's anyone else, but it's just like, all right, this is again a problem with the program where like teams have clearly run out of ideas here.
Yeah.
Um, so is like I think I that was a jersey where I liked the inspiration behind it. The design was pretty good, but the kind of like creativity
Hmm.
knocked them back a few
Yeah.
spots.
Yeah.
Were
That's
there
fair.
any others for you?
I really liked, so I said the Pistons were up there, but
Uh-huh.
um kind of decidedly not quite in this upper
Right.
level. And then I do really like the Grizzlies jersey. That was
Hmm.
decently close. Um,
I like that one too. I had that one
yeah,
as number 12.
yeah. And then I like the Suns jersey a lot, but
Me too.
there are a couple issues I have. I think my biggest issue with the jersey is probably I kind of don't like the straight logo
Okay.
in the center. I want like either some sort of writing, which I don't know,
Hmm.
but it just with this jersey in particular, I just kind of am like I feel like it looks a
Interesting.
little something about the logo in the middle just looks a little weird to me. Which I know
It's
they've
kind of a
had,
weird, it's kind of a tough logo to put right in the middle because it's not a centered logo,
yeah,
if that
and
makes sense. It's not like a
right,
logo that you can stick right, like they have the stuff
the
coming out on the
yeah.
side.
So that's my only thing, but I do like it. I don't like, I mean, this has nothing to do with the jersey, but this it's hard for me to not think about. I hate some of these teams, they change their court design as well with the
Right.
jersey.
Right.
I don't like Phoenix is one that they change it, and I think the court looks really bad.
Okay.
It doesn't with the jersey. So not really ultimately why I would rank it higher or lower, but
Right.
it's just another thing that is there. But those are the ones that were close to the top five for me.
Were there any that you really did not like? Like
Oh,
what
absolutely.
were the ones that were instant
Okay.
no?
I think the Warriors jersey is horrible.
Really? I really like the Warriors one.
Okay. I think it's terrible. And there's two
How
reasons.
come?
Okay. First of all, a huge rose. I don't know, the rose in the middle. But regardless of how you feel about the rose,
Uh-huh.
nobody can see it. Because by rule, they have to tuck their jersey into
Right.
the shorts. And so the rose, if you watch a Warriors game when they're wearing this jersey, you will
Hmm.
never see the rose. You'll barely even see the yellow at the bottom of the
Okay.
jersey. So that just
That's
like
fair.
doesn't make sense.
So
Like
the
what is
rose, the whole thing with this jersey is it's supposed to represent the women. I guess the Warriors have had a very heavily woman influenced like support.
uh
So that's the kind of inspiration which I thought was pretty cool. And
yeah.
I like how it looks in like the memorabilia picture, but I certainly can see now why that would be a problem with tucking it in, which is honestly a problem I had with a lot of these jerseys that I had to kind of just throw away in my rankings was a lot of them have made this sort of like last effort to connect to the city by putting something right above the tag. Like
Yeah.
they'll put like a
Right.
saying that's really
Right.
important to their city, or like the Bulls have the Chicago flag right above the tag. It's like that that is tucked in.
Cool,
That
but
like
no one will know.
by rule you have to tuck that in.
Yeah.
And so if that is your attempt at making it a city jersey, I'm sorry, but you can be nowhere near
Right.
the top of my
Yeah.
list.
So
Um,
yeah.
so
I
that's
yeah.
understandable for sure.
All four. I mean, the inspiration is really cool, but
Yeah.
I think the chest. I think it looks a little weird with the rose and the number and the font and the circle, but it's really the fact that there's these huge rows, which I don't know if I
Yeah.
love it to begin with the memorabilia, but then once it's tucked in, it's just like, all right, well, there's no point to that.
That's fair.
Um,
The center
I
thing, I kind of like how the Warriors, that's like what they always do, and it's sort of like they've done it
uh,
with their like the Chinatown jerseys
right.
where it's like they
They
just
they
switch
do it.
up the center a little bit. I think that's a kind of cool
Yeah.
thing that's unique to them.
Yeah.
But all very valid,
Yeah. I
points.
I don't like the Pacers jersey.
Okay.
I don't know. It just looks
Pacers one is
weird.
weird. It's
It's just weird.
I think theirs was like they're inspired by like the something in there. It's like designed to look like their arena, which is a pretty big stretch to me. It kind of I
Yeah.
mean it kind of just looks like a alternate jersey.
Yeah.
I think I
I
put
don't
it
know.
somewhere like in the middle to back range because it was like a it looks okay. It's it's kind of meh, and the
Right.
inspiration is kind of meh.
Yeah. Um, and then the two others, Miami,
Uh-huh.
we've talked about it.
Yeah.
It's the same design they've had in the past. I just think it looks clunky. I think it looks weird.
Yeah, it looks weird.
And then Philadelphia is the other one.
Okay.
I really don't like.
Yeah,
Um,
Philly's one that got points for inspiration, but did not get points for design because it is
exactly.
so
It's
plain.
just such a weak design.
Yeah, it's
And
like they
then
forgot. It's like they thought of the inspiration. We're like, okay, we're gonna do like this brotherly love thing, and then we're like, okay, that's a good
that's
start.
it.
Let's put it away
Yeah.
for a little bit, and then we're like, oh no, the
We
deadline is
forgot. Yeah.
tomorrow.
We're just gonna throw it on there and go.
All right, I hope here we go.
Yeah.
Red
And
stripe.
then yeah, and it like I said before, I can't hold it against the jersey, but they changed their court and it is
Oh,
terrible.
really?
It is so bad. It's like if I turn on a Sixers game, like inevitably when I go to watch basketball at night, I go on League Pass, I turn on a Sixers game, and I see that they're wearing those jerseys playing on that court. Part of me wants to just shut it off. Like it's terrible, but
Okay.
it's just incredibly plain. Like
Yeah.
I hate the way it looks.
Yeah.
Not a knock on the jersey, but it just overall their design. It was just to me. I'm like, what are you guys doing with this city edition? But
Right. So for me, the biggest, the worst ones were By far the worst one for me is the Lakers, and let me tell you why. Here is the here's the reasoning, their like inspiration behind this jersey.
Yeah.
The uniform is not the story, it is a vehicle to tell the story. So basically they said we're not putting any design on it because the uniform is not the focus. So, I mean, come on. That's like a
Okay,
dog
yeah.
ate my homework kind of thing here.
Yeah.
So that to me was just, and then I also just don't like the way that the font, like it looks, they have that kind of weird, like Los Angeles angled thing usually. And this one, it looks like they just left aligned everything. So there's just like this weird open space. I just think
Yeah.
for a team that I've had at the top of city uniform rankings a lot, this was just like,
A
what
letdown.
are you doing?
Yeah. It's not
Um,
great. It's not great.
and then the other three that kind of like before I started jerseys that I liked really were the Magic, the Kings, and then the Raptors. For me, the Raptors,
Same.
it's like, all right, we get it. You like the black and gold, but it doesn't really have that much to do with the city besides like one Drake album or something like that, I think was the
Yeah.
original inspiration. And then they didn't even go with like a North thing. It's just black and gold and Toronto.
Yeah.
Um,
It's so boring.
there's apparently some details that are in like the background, but it's on a black base, so you cannot
I
see
was gonna
them
say I'm just
whatsoever.
noticing it clicking on a picture that's a little closer up, but it's still,
Yeah.
yeah, that's bad. The Magic
Um,
one, I agree.
the Magic one for me is like the jersey's fine, but it's not
Right.
good looking, where some of the other ones that don't have any inspiration look good but don't have inspiration. But this one just quite literally, they don't have a reason for this jersey
It's
at all. It's literally just a like dark gray jersey. It looks like a Georgetown jersey.
yeah.
And then the Kings, I'm honestly surprised I put the Kings ahead of the Magic. Maybe I just like the jersey a little bit better, but the Kings like inspiration for these jerseys is a while ago we were thinking about relocating, but we didn't.
Wait, actually.
Yeah.
Oh
So
no.
they're one that they're like their entire jersey. So they have like words that are important to the city, I think, on the side, but then the main like inspiration part of their jersey is a quote from like the owner or something that's above right above the tag. That's
Yeah, we're
basically
gonna
like,
keep this
oh,
team.
we're staying here. It's like, are you serious? I
Yeah,
think
that's
I
pretty bad.
wrote the Kings decided to use the fact that they stayed in Sacramento as the motivation for their jersey. I don't know how you put that into a jersey, but I don't think the Kings did. So it's just like they had
That's
a
hard to
weak
argue.
inspiration, and then it also just looks like they did not go with the inspiration in the end. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah, I agree.
so
It's like a fine jersey itself. It's
right,
kind of cool,
right.
but
If that was
yeah,
just a regular jersey that they wore, I'd be like, all
yeah, it's
right,
fine.
cool, sure. But when you're supposed to have a tie to your city, like that's weak.
I couldn't agree more.
All right. Let's run through our five again since we've been talking about other stuff for
Yeah.
like 15 minutes. For me, five Charlotte Hornets, four Detroit Pistons, three Atlanta Hawks, two New Orleans Pelicans, one Milwaukee Bucks. Side note, I also just love the city of Milwaukee, so I might be a little biased there as
There
well.
you go. I'm all for it. I like the Bucks. I like the Bucks. Um, so for me, 5-1, I got the Milwaukee Bucks, and I got the LA Clippers, Chicago Bulls, San Antonio Spurs, and the Boston Celtics at 1.
Nice. So I don't
Right.
think you told me before this that you thought we were gonna have very different
I
lists.
I
I
just
don't
I
think
just
they're
had a
as different.
feeling. No, I just
Yeah.
had a feeling they could be. Um,
They definitely could like
I
I
mean,
think
we only had one
if we had
similarity,
gone in
but
different directions, they would have been very differently. But I think because we thought about it in similar ways, I mean, definitely a little bit differently for some
mhm,
of them, but I think the general criteria was pretty similar.
yeah, yeah,
Solid list though. Solid list. The one
100%.
that I
They're
was
good jerseys.
mentioning earlier that was a super nice jersey but has no inspiration was the Rockets. Because I think that jersey
It's
is
just a
so sick, but it's literally
it's
just a
literally just a
throwback jersey.
throwback. Yeah, me too. Same thing.
So
I love the jersey, but it's not like
it's
you're
like,
literally just reusing an old jersey that feels like cheating.
right. The
That's
website that
not.
I saw the news from put the classic Jazz in just as a placeholder. And it's
Hmm.
almost like that's what the Rockets did, but they just remembered to actually like turn in the assignment. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, here's that paper I wrote for this class 5 years ago, and it was really good then, so here it is now.
Yeah.
Whereas the Jazz just said, I could turn that thing in, but
I'm not going to.
I'm just not gonna bother.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't agree more. And
yeah,
the Rockets, have you seen the alternate they have with like yellow and green?
no, I've
I
missed that
thought that's
somehow.
got to be the worst jersey in the NBA.
I'll take
It's
a look at it.
terrible. Look at it after.
I will.
It's embarrassing. That's a joke of a
Yellow
franchise
and
right now.
green. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Weird. But
Yeah. All right. Solid lists.
yes, sir. It was
I
fun.
like it. Absolutely.